Hi, my name is Vanessa. Today I'm going to be showing you a closer look at my propagation chambers. And also I thought it would be a great time to give you a quick update on the tissue culture plantlets that we acclimated together. So let's get started. So there are three ways that I propagate either cuttings, or if I have to acclimate something in high humidity, I have three things that I usually use. So we can go as simple and basic as a plastic bag. So I have these syngonium cuttings that I have rooting inside this gallon bag. As you can see, got a couple of leaves dying off. It's okay, it happens during propagation. But yeah, so you can see it's starting to root right in here. So that's one way you can easily and cheaply root cuttings. Like that's gonna have that greenhouse effect. You can see the condensation as the leaf transpires and the soil has water evaporating. You're gonna have that greenhouse effect. So it could be as cheap and easy as this. You got a gallon bag of plastic bags. You can use that. You can repurpose like a liter of clear soda, and wash it out really good and cut it open and tape it up. You can make a greenhouse basically out of anything as long as it's clear, as long as it's enclosed, and you're able to contain that humidity, and you're able to have light go through it, so it's able to photosynthesize. Another way that I do my propagation is in plastic bins. And so this is another easy, cheap way. And if you need from a larger quantity, this will be a great, inexpensive way to do it. So as the leaves transpire and the water evaporates from the soil, you're going to make a greenhouse effect where it's going to contain it, and it's going to be able to sustain the leaves until it's able to root and be able to grow on its own. So this one, I have a lot of cuttings in here, but I also did a couple of TC plantlets that I'm acclimating in here. We have a white princess. Let's see, does she have any roots yet? She's starting, but she hasn't gone to the sides yet. But do you see? So she's been in there. Since I pulled her out of the plastic bag and agar, and doing great. So it does work with the TC plantlets as well. Let's see. And this one was my first fern TC that I got, that I'm acclimating in there, and it's doing well as well. So that is pretty cool, huh? So that's another way you can do it. And the reason I want to show you those two methods, I just want you to know it doesn't have to be expensive. It could be very low tech if you want to have your propagation set up. So it just depends on what you have, what your resources are. And yeah, so it could be cheap and fun and easy no matter what, as long as you're containing the humidity and it's able to let the light through so it can photosynthesize. This is my propagation chamber that I wanted to give you a little bit closer look into. So this is an ExoTerra terrarium that they sell. And so the reason I liked these ones for this setup is because they have these doors where you can open up from the side. I knew these particular setup, I wanted it in one spot. I'm not going to be moving it anywhere, so it's okay that it's glass, and it's able to open and close these doors. I can pull things out, I could put things in easily. I really liked that thought of it. Now they're not very cheap, so they're on the more expensive side. So, but you can also set this up with a plastic tote if you want, or like an aquarium, whatever your setup is, as long as it's containing the humidity. Where I have it different than the the bins and the bag, those rely on things that are the evapotranspiration, so the evaporation and the water circulating within there. These are supplemented with an actual humidity fogger. So it's coming on every 4 hours for 2 minutes. I go between 3 to 4. It just depends on how much humidity you will need. So you'll play around with that. There's different times you can have the interval at, and then the duration, like how long the fog comes on. And so you'll kind of play with that, see what works with you. So I usually have it for the 3 to 4, either 3 or 4 hours for the interval. So that's how it's coming on. Every 3 hours, it'll come on. Another 3 hours, it'll come on. Then for the duration, they have minutes that it's on. So it's like 2, 4, 6 duration. So I have it on the lowest one, 2 minutes, which I wish they did have like they had a 1 minute or maybe at 30 seconds. I think that would be very useful, but the 2 minutes work. So I'll show you the fogger and how it works and how it turns on. Let's see. So I'll just have it come on here. Let's see if you can see. So, and the nice thing about this, so it atomizes the water. I use distilled water just so it really gets the best life out of the humidifier, and it's not making the impurities of the water into a film onto the plant, so it's nice and clean. So, but I like the fact that it's not a spray, so you're not spraying the leaves. It's just giving that fog in there. And then so yeah, it'll fill it up, and then it's just going to give it every 3 hours for 2 minutes, whether it needs it or not. Now, if you want the best way to do it, it would be with the humidistat. If you could see that blue guy back there, I have had it in the past. That one kind of walked away from where it should have been calibrated, and so it's not working properly. So I don't have it hooked up to that anymore. Ideally, that would be really great because you could set your humidity that you want it at, and then every time it dips below, it'll turn on and hit that humidity. And so it's only coming on when it needs it. So this turns on whether it needs it or not. So sometimes you'll have condensation, and that may pull to the bottom or whatever. And so that's just something to keep in mind. But that's just more money. Do you need it? You could do without it, but it just depends on what your resources are and what you want to do. So that's one other thing that I kind of I forgot to mention, which is really good to know. Why, when I use my cups, I use, so I don't know if you're starting to see how it has the fog coming out. I don't know if it shows on the video. Let me actually bump it up, because you have 3 levels of the mist that is going to come out. So I put it on the highest mist. So I usually have it on the lowest. You play around with it, see what level of the mist is, but since it's on for 2 minutes, I usually have it on the lowest, just so we're not like saturating the air with too much water. So I showed you in my previous propagation videos where I plant my cuttings, I acclimate my plantlets into these cups. And it's great because they're clear. You get to see when the roots come down. The thing is, I don't cut holes into them yet though. So when I'm putting them in here, and for me, when you're putting them in here, if they're going to be in high humidity, it's not going to need water as if it's in ambient air. So it's going to hold its moisture in the soil pretty well. But you still need to check it. It'll dry out, but at a much, much slower rate. So you just got to check every once in a while. This is going to make sure that it's going to replenish the humidity in there. So it's not going to happen as quickly. But the other thing is, because we do get condensation in here, water can pool at the bottom of the base, and you don't want it wicking up into your plants. And so it's going to get too wet, and then you're going to have problems. So like with root rot and stuff, you want to control the moisture in your media. And so that's why I don't cut holes to go into this, the propagation chamber, or into any other situation, just because I want to control that. And if I had a false bottom, then that would be a different thing. But when you pull them out, you can cut easily with a razor or with scissors, and it'll have your drainage holes. It's really super easy. So that's just my take on it. You do you. You know, if you feel more comfortable, you can always put the holes in there. The only thing I would tell you is that be careful for water that pools at the bottom, because that's when it's going to get you in trouble, because they're not going to need to water them often. Just wanted to kind of let you know what I do and why I don't put holes during propagation time. Now, when they come out, usually I'm repotting into a different pot and getting it going from there. So, or if I'm not, that's when I would cut holes into it. So we have the fogger. I'm showing you, I don't know, hopefully you can kind of see how it goes. I'm going to close it so you can see how it fills up, how it actually looks when it fills up. And then, so the top that usually comes with the ExoTerra terrarium is a screen. So my husband, he was able to cut the top with acrylic sheet, and so it can contain the humidity. The screen would just let it all flow through. And he also 3D printed some vents for me, which I'll show in a separate video. You can see how it works. And that's about it. Like, it's an enclosed, it makes sure that you're getting that replenished humidity. So obviously this can become quite expensive. These things are not inexpensive. So that's why I only got 4 units, and I use those for things that I really want to get a good start on and make sure that it's successful, just because it's a little bit more consistent with the humidity. You know, with the prop boxes, it's a little bit more hands-on. It's a little bit less consistent, but it still does the job. I just like to use these, especially for hard to propagate plants that take a long time, because then you're dealing with more evaporation on the soil and through the plant. So those ones need that extra time. This helps for it to be consistent during that time, so it doesn't get off to a bad start. And also, like, really thin-leaved propagations, you know, like, let's say like a hibiscus cutting, you know, the leaves are really thin, and if it messes up with one getting too dry or whatever, like, that will not be great. But like philodendrons and stuff, they are very easy. They have thick leaves. Like, the propagation bin is great for those things. So just depends on what you need and what you would like to do. But things like this, you can easily do a propagation bin, drill a hole on the top, and then if you wanted the fogger to come on, you can do that. Things I've thought of but I haven't done before is you can get tubing to link, you know, to multiple like propagation bins, and it's just supplementing some humidity every once in a while. You can also do that. But I have found so far that the propagation bins do really good, and I've gotten those at Walmart. It's like $8 or $9 for one of those totes that I showed you, and so it's really inexpensive and great. So yeah, that's all I think for the propagation bin. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll be able to tell you the answers in the comments and reply to your comments. The only other thing I guess I did leave out is I do have my LED grow lights growing on top of the actual chamber. So that's where it's going to get its light. So the only other thing, so when I'm done, a lot of times I'm pulling things out and putting things in. So it's kind of just the way it happens. But when I am able to, I really like to pull out what I can, consolidate in another chamber, and then clean it down. And how I do that is if there's any water on the bottom, I'll clean it up, soak it up, and then wash with soap and water, and then spray it with sanitizer, and then you got another good fresh start. And I do that with the propagation bins as well. It's just good to give yourself, so you're not like, if there's any chance of anything bad, like diseases or some kind of pest or something, you're just giving your propagation a nice clean start every single time. So that's my other tip for that. So I wanted to give an update on our tissue cultures that we acclimated together a few episodes ago. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. We cleaned and planted some tissue culture plantlets and put them inside these propagation chambers. So we'll pull them out now and show you how they've done since then. So let's check them out. Let's see. So we had 2 Alocasia Jacqueline Arias, and this is how they're looking today. So we got this guy. It's grown a new leaf. It's actively growing, and it's got lots of beautiful roots. So she is definitely ready to come out. I'm pulling her out. And the older leaf is kind of yellowing. That's fine. Old leaves I'm not concerned about. And she's rooted out very nice. And we got this guy as well, and definitely very rooted and happy, actively growing as well through a couple of leaves. So she's ready. We're going to put her out into the grow house. Let's see. The other thing we did have, let's see, let me check. The Zebrina. So look at the Zebrina. She's growing so pretty. So she definitely is nice and rooted. She's a little leggy. She's ready for stronger light. So definitely need to get her out of there. Let's see. We also had the Philodendron billeti. So this is the one we did, and she definitely is nice and rooted, actively growing. So definitely ready to come out. We had 2 silver dragons, and there was one that was more robust and bigger. I'll be showing the before and afters, kind of, so you can see what we started with and how it's looking. So this was the bigger one, and it's growing beautifully. She definitely has roots. Let's see, I don't know if you can see it, but definitely is there, and she's actively growing. That's the, let's see, this is the newest leaf, so it'll get a little bit bigger. This was the previous leaf that has grown inside the chamber. So if this one was one that we received, that was a rehab, and so it was a little rough when we got it, but I knew that I got a great deal on it, so it wasn't a big deal. So this one is still small, but it has a new leaf. If you remember, we only had this leaf starting, and it has grown this. There's no real roots on the side of it, so I'm going to leave it inside, give it more time. There's no rush for it. So I'm going to put that little guy back in. And let's see what else we got. Oh, so, and there was the Alocasia polyvariegated pink snow we got in, and it looked fine. It was not a rehab, but when I got it, most of the leaves were melted. Only one leaf remained, and that was this guy. But even though like the leaves had melted, it looked like the roots got pretty mushy, but but the stem was still solid and you still had one good leaf. So I was pretty optimistic that it would be fine. So it did do fine. So we got nice pretty roots, and it has grown 2 more leaves since we last saw it. So it's doing good and it's ready to come out. And one other thing, so after that episode where we acclimated, I had a video where we did a cutting of alocasia, where we did a top cut, and I wanted to show you the progress of that guy. So this is the one we cut the top. Check out the video if you haven't seen it yet. And she has rooted beautifully. This is one of the older leaves that didn't make it. It's okay, we'll just take it off. But yeah, rooted beautifully, and she's off to a strong start. So that is another update for you. So that is all I have today. It was a quick video. Let me know if I missed anything that you're wondering about for the propagation chambers. Yeah, and I'll be happy to answer them in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me again, and I appreciate you guys. I'm happy to share any tips and tricks that you may need. If you have any requests, please let me know in the comments. Happy gardening. Bye.